one. Hello, my name is Luis, and I'm going to be covering RP of autoregulation of volume. And I took this from the primary research article by Eric Helms and colleagues. So some background information I want to cover before I get to the article itself is they covered powerlifters. Powerlifting is simply a sport that covers squat, bench, and deadlift. And they use the acronym RPE a lot, which is simply means the rating of perceived exertion. And then the three training variables that they accounted for were volume, intensity, and frequency. Volume being the amount of work done in a given week, and intensity being the percent of your 1 rep max being used for each working set, and frequency being the amount of times one lifts throughout the week. And the 1 RM obviously means 1 rep max. And then RP autoregulation is a technique they use to implement on the lifters, and it simply allows the lifter to choose the weight they want to use for the given day, given like their capacity, like given stressors, given how much they slept, given how much they ate, they were able to choose a weight and still get the desired exertion rate. So the objective of the paper was to observe the impact of RPE stops on training volume for powerlifters. And the researchers hypothesized that volume would be greatest in the 6% stop week and greatest in the hypertrophy sessions. So before I get into methodology, the subjects chosen were all avid powerlifters with at least 1 year of training under their belts, and they had to be healthy and free of injury. The 1 rep max was tested, their height and body weight were measured, and their body mass index was calculated for. As can be seen by the table on the right, there was some differences, but not too many. So for the 1 rep max, the testing simply went, they did a dynamic warm-up, and they did pyramid warm-up sets until the 1 rep max test. So if they had 100 kilograms 1 rep max, then they would do 40, 60, 80 until they reached 100 kilograms. But the main thing is they were shown this table on the right, which allowed them to kind of visualize and feel how each RPE rating should feel. So 1 rep max should be an RPE of 10, or if they did like 80 pounds for 2 reps, but were able to do 4 reps, that'd be an RPE of 8 because they have 2 reps in reserve. So the researchers broke up the 3 weeks of training into 3 days. So 3 days a week at different RPE stoppages. And I'll kind of cover what that means later. So essentially each day had a different goal in mind. So one day was hypertrophy, another day was power, another day was strength. And each day had a set repetitions and set RPE goals, each with consistent rep times. So each participant was given like a different RPE stoppage week, so different percentage. So if the week was 2%, then for the hypertrophy day, they would pick a weight that would allow them to get 8 repetitions for an 8 RPE for their top sets. So they'd warm up for their top sets. And then let's say the triangle needed 100 kilograms to get 8 repetitions at an RPE of 8. If this was achieved in the first top set, then the first back off set, the 2% stoppage week would dictate that we minus 2% from the 100 kilograms from the top set weight. So then the first back off set, they would do 98 pounds or 98 kilograms for 8 repetitions. And this would probably lead to a decrease in RPE because the weight is lighter. But then the triangle would keep doing sets until they reached RPE again. In this case, the triangle did 2 sets to get another RPE of 8. And then in order to calculate the volume, the total work done in the week, the researchers simply used the equation sets times reps times 1% rep 1 times percent of 1 rep max. This allowed them to kind of account for differences in size and strength. And although there was quite a bit of standard error within each data set within each week, we can see that the general trend was that the higher the RPE stoppage percentage, so the lighter the weight used after the top sets, the more volume that was able to accrue. Right. And then the researchers themselves just normally distributed the data with the unstructured covariance. And this kind of estimated the differences in outcome variables. As you can see the lines here, like the relation between all those variables. So overall, the researchers concluded that their hypothesis was supported. The higher the RPE stop percentages led to more lift volume. However, because the participants were all mixed sex, some were male, some were female, this could have accounted for some differences in like recoverability, as women tend to recover differently at different rates during different parts of their menstrual cycle. And the main takeaway I took from this paper was that using lighter loads allowed there to be more volume in a given week. And so the main takeaway or practical applications I would put in my own programming was that if I had a hypertrophy focused block of training, then I would use a higher RPE percentage stoppage or a lower RPE or just a lower weight in general in order to get more volume over time. So keep the exertion the same, but just use a lot lighter weight in order to recover better. And then finally, here is the paper I used by Eric Helms and colleagues, rating a perceived exertion as a method of volume autoregulation within a periodized program. Thank you so much.